Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. I have my friend here, Keshav, with me today. Keshav, we've had multiple conversations. We know each other pretty well, but do you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, for sure. Hello, Samir's listeners. So my name is Keshav Kulor, 24, another young guy trying to get a start in real estate. During the day, I'm a software engineer at Meta, based out of New York City. And after that, so my 5 to 9 in the weekends, I help people passively invest in commercial real estate projects and try to establish financial freedom and build passive income for themselves. Mostly construction projects and apartment complexes in the Southeast.
Love it. Love it. I like the intro there. Is that how you got started? Like, did you just, come into real estate and thinking, hey, I'm going to tackle the big stuff in the commercial world, or where did you kind of get started?
No, actually. So I got my start in right after graduation. I would say I graduated college in 2019 and I was looking for credit cards. So I didn't want to just get whatever credit card my friends or family were using. I wanted to learn about finances, personal finance myself. So I just started digging around YouTube, came across this guy, Graham Stephan, a very popular YouTuber in the finance and real estate world. His backstory is he graduated high school with a 2.7, never went to college, got into real estate out in LA, and now he's a millionaire, killing it in real estate and YouTube as well. And I jumped from his credit card videos to his real estate videos and how he's just renting out, 8, 10 homes at a time, building that passive income for himself, both through cash flow and through appreciation. And I didn't know that at the time that that was possible, right? I was like, this guy's playing real life Monopoly, and that seems pretty cool. Like, I want to do that. And I started diving in. And I figured out that I don't know anything about how to buy a deal or how to renovate it or rent it out. And I also don't have money because I just got out of college. I had student loans. So I figured I'd kill two birds, one stone. In addition to being a software engineer during the day, I'd become a realtor, again, to build my capital and as well as build experience, networking, connections in the real estate world. I sold a couple homes, mostly to my coworkers. So I've helped one buy a home, helped one sell a home before I learned about commercial real estate. This was in September 2020. So during the pandemic, that was from a Reddit thread that my roommate here sent me actually. And this guy who is based out of San Antonio, his name is Ruben Dominguez. Shout out to him. He just started talking about how you could buy hundreds of apartments, hundreds of homes instead of buying one at a time and dealing with the headaches that are property management, managing tenants, taking out the trash, fixing broken toilets. And I was like, this just makes too much sense to just go buy one home or even, duplexes, triplexes at a time. And I started from there just educating myself, reading books, hopping on Zoom calls with people I did not know at all. That's how I spent a lot of my pandemic. And it actually took me a year to get comfortable enough with the idea to pull the trigger to finally invest. I could have probably done it quicker in hindsight, but hindsight's 2020. So I invested as a limited partner, passive investor in San Antonio into 108 apartments in September 2020, so 8 or 9 months ago. And I'd recommend anyone who's getting started, whether you're active or passive, to invest passively first. And since maybe November, December, I've hopped on the active side of things. So actually help put these projects together. Again, apartment complexes, value add strategy that I'm sure your audience is familiar with, as well as the built to rent space, construction, which we can talk more about that later. And so I mainly, once a partner has brought me the deal in the Southeast, I'll help them underwrite it, talk to investors about it, manage the asset when we had it under control, and help with a bunch of other back office things like talking to investors, CPAs, lawyers, etc.
I love that. Yeah, you kind of realize like I'm guessing some aspect of it was also scalability, right? And like you said, going from like one or two doors all the way up to like 100, right? It's a lot more scalable, and you can do it with teams and things of that sort. So, you mentioned that you recommend for anybody listening to who's interested to start off as an LP before they go into maybe an active or sponsor role, right? Well, why do you say that? Like for at least from your experience.
Yeah. So I started learning. So I first learned about commercial in September 2020, like I said, as for a timeline. And the first opportunity I had to pitch to my family and friends was in June of last year. So almost a year ago when I thought I had my first deal. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh, I have to talk to my friends and everything. But you can't really tell someone what something is about theoretically, right? It's hard to explain to someone, oh, this is what you can expect, or this is what should happen. And it's really difficult to do that when you don't have the evidence yourself, right? Because some things like commercial real estate investing, the tax benefits, the returns that you get sound too good to be true to a lot of people who are only familiar with 8% compounded in the stock market. They think that you're pitching some Ponzi scheme. So if you can show people that you've talked to these people, that you have emails where you show, monthly updates on a project, where you have cash flow distributions that you can show that, hey, I've established some passive income already, or you can show them your K-1 tax forms and show them, hey, I'm legally losing money on my investment to the IRS. These are just like pieces of evidence, as that's how I like to think of it, where you can show people like, I'm not just, speaking out of thin air or showing you books or weird gurus on the internet. I've actually experienced it myself, and this is what it'll look like for you.
Sure. Yeah. It's getting your feet wet, right? It's kind of building your credibility and understanding the how the process works, right? Because it's very different buying a 100 or 200 unit apartment building than it is buying a single family home, right? So it's a different ball game, and understanding that is crucial. So when you first got started, this gentleman Ruben, I know him as well, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
He has a very similar stories to work in kind of as an engineer, or in that space, and then really now is in the apartment syndication space. So how did that kind of help you, right? Like, did it help you, to identify somebody who's doing it and, align yourself?
Exactly. Yeah. So Ruben, he's been in tech sales for a lot of time, and I think he also even built up his rental portfolio up to 40 homes or so. And I saw someone who actually went from you being a W-2 to investing in residential to investing in commercial, and what that journey looked like. So one of the most important things I learned from that is just commercial is a good end goal to be, and I don't have to get into residential to get into commercial. So I just skipped that middle step because of the experience of him and a lot of other people who just told me how you can just start playing the game at a higher level a lot sooner than you think. And secondly, he was great at just answering questions. So a lot of people, our age or anyone who's even getting started, they might be afraid like, oh, what if I don't have experience, or what if I don't have knowledge, or what if I don't know anyone personally who's done it? None of my family or friends has done this, and I personally don't have any experience with it. I'm an engineer by training, not finance or business, anything like that. And so all I did was I reached out to him after that Reddit post. I was like, hey man, I read your post. I'm looking to get invested in real estate as well, and I really like the concept that you pitched, commercial real estate syndications. Like, can I learn more? And I just started asking him questions, and bless his soul, like he just took time out of his day to answer my questions. Like, what is the limited partner? What is the general partner? What do they each do? What do the returns look like? What are K-1 forms? What are average, where do you usually invest? Why landlord friendly versus tenant friendly? So you just have to find the right people who are willing to take some time out of their day to share their knowledge with you, like Ruben, and there are many others. And that might take some time, but there are people out there who genuinely want to help you succeed. And it's just a matter of you putting in the work to find them and build that relationship with them and keep in touch with them.
So you're telling me that you should talk to strangers, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Because there's that old saying, right? You're the average of the 5 people you're around. If you only ever hang around the family or the friends you already have, they're great people, I would hope. But if you're trying to really up your life to that next level, whatever it is, right? It could be fitness, it could be your relationships, your health, mental health, your finances, whatever it is, you need to surround yourself with the people who are doing what you want to do. And maybe you're not there yet, right? So what that means is you're going to have to find someone who is, and that's someone you don't know yet, a stranger that you're going to have to build that relationship with. And so I've built a lot of relationships with a lot of strangers over the past year and a half, coming up on 2 years. And a lot of this is virtual too. I lived in New York City. I lived in Detroit before when I started. I live in New York City now. I've met Ruben in person and maybe 5 or 10 other people at a conference in Houston. I actually haven't even met my partners that I work with on a day-to-day basis. I haven't even met them in person. It's all just been Zoom calls. And I think that's a great thing for our generation, because beforehand it was like you had to know someone personally to get in. It was that, rich boys club at, if you met on someone's yacht or golf course, that's the only way you learn about these things. But now we have great things like social media and virtual networking events. So you can, just break through whatever ceiling would have previously been there for you.
Yeah, 100%, and this would not have been possible, or at least it would have been a lot more challenging years ago, right? So we're definitely in a different time period, and we should use the resources we have at our disposal, right? Social media, Zoom. I mean, we haven't actually met physically either, right? So yeah, we've just met via Zoom and just gotten to know each other that way. So yeah, it's crazy how a stranger can become a friend and a partner, right? So so like that first deal that you got into, right? The one in San Antonio. How did that look? Like, did you feel like you were ready? What did that out kind of look like?
Yeah. So at that point, I got an email from one of the partners, Abel Pacheco. He's one of Ruben's partners, and that email was just like, "Hey, we're putting this investment together." And I guess it hadn't even crossed my mind at that time that I should be passively investing. But then at that point, I realized I'd already pitched my friends once, and they didn't sound that convinced. And I was like, I need something. I need that evidence to make this more convincing. So I invested primarily for that motive, and again to get that experience of what is it like on the other side. If one day when I do become a general partner, what do I want it to look like from the limited partner side? How do I want my investment to be treated? How do I want to be treated as an investor? And so Abel sent out an email, and I just hopped on a call, learned more about the investment. Usually, like they'll send you an email, the pitch deck, and the webinar and everything. So I went through all that, and I asked a lot of questions too. And the biggest thing for me, I still remember, was just actually pulling the trigger and wiring the money. I remember it was like August 14th or 15th, and I was up at midnight figuring out like wiring instructions and if this, like the money would actually move from my checking account to the business LLC's account. And I was freaking out, like waiting the day that I got the confirmation that that money had actually been invested. Like that was a really great day for me, like just from a relief standpoint. And then I use my finances to track, I use Mint to track my finances. So I saw my net worth just go down and I was like, oh, this looks so sad. But eventually the goal is, right, like you make that investment now and it'll come back even better, right? A lot better 3-5 years down from the line. So nerve wracking for sure, but I know what the process is like from the limited partner perspective. And I also know what it's like to invest in your first deal. And again, at this time, I hadn't met these people in person. So it could very well just have gone into the ether, right? For all I know. And given how paranoid I was.
Right, right. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like it's happens in this day where you have a stranger who you never met and wiring you money, right? So I've done it, like I've wired money to people I've never met.
Yeah.
And of course you have to do your due diligence and
Met in
confirm,
person.
right?
Met in person. You've never met them in person.
Never met him in person. Yeah, connected several times.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend people to wire money to people that you've never met.
No, never a complete stranger. No, no. And never to that person. It's always to, title, or it's always to an LLC that, has a PPM or something, in place. It's not just, hey, I'm putting it in your bank account. It's not like that, right? So it is a sinking feeling when you first see your net worth drop, but it is a long-term game, so no, that's amazing. So, like from that, and you said, like, as you're now transitioning over to an active role, or maybe as a, how is that kind of segue or transition going? What's kind of your new role, to get to that active side?
Right. So I've partnered up with folks over at Legacy Acquisitions, my partners, Andy McMullen, Ruben Greth, just to name a few. And they took me under their wing. The process for that basically, and I'll outline it because like a lot of people will think, I've never done this before. I don't have any real estate experience. How can I just start jumping into hundreds of units? And I'll outline the process for you very simply, right? And anyone who follows this process should be able to hop on these investments. It takes a little bit of work and persistence and finding the right people, but it's possible. So September 2020, I found out about commercial real estate investing. I made my first investment in September 2021, a year later. At that point, I realized, okay, like this stuff works. We closed on that San Antonio property. I actually own 0.432 apartments in San Antonio now at 24. Like I want to help other people do this because real estate's a powerful way to, like we said, build financial freedom and that passive income for other people, to let them do what they want with their lives instead of having to work a job that they might not like. At that point, I was like, how can I find different people who will take me under their wing? I'm willing to work for free in the beginning just to learn, just to network from them. And I think we can talk more about that as well, but I think that's a big key to it. And so I started reaching out to people, right? like, hey, how can I join your project? How can I do this? How can I help out in any way possible? A lot of times what I encountered was people were like, oh, you have to have at least this many deals that you've underwritten, or you have to have at least this many units under control, or you have to have at least raised $5 million in the past. There was really high barriers to entry for most people that I've met. And I'm like, I've only ever coded before in my life, and I have a 401k. I don't know how you expect me to just right out of the gate have $5 million raised. It's a catch 22, even when you go to apply for jobs and they're like, you need experience, but then to get that experience, you need the job. That's kind of what I was running into. And through enough Zoom networking events, what I would do is, like, let's say I met Ruben, then I would go to Ruben's event. I would connect with other people there and reach out to them, ask them what meetups they recommend, go to those networking events, Zoom events, and then just keep branching out from there. Connect with people on LinkedIn, hop on their calendar, just pick their brain for like 20, 30 minutes. By doing that, I met someone who introduced me to this website called the GOB Network. So gobnetwork.com. What that website is, and I'm not getting paid to say any of this, it's a nonprofit organization. GOB stands for Grand Old Boys, because back in the day, like we said, it was just a boys club who would buy up hundreds of apartments. People like you or me, engineers, accountants, everyday people, it was a lot harder for us. But what the GOB network is doing is making commercial real estate investing, both for the passive investor and the active investor, more accessible. So if you sign up on the website and you join the Slack channel, they have a lot of resources and other members in there who are willing to mentor you and work with you. And they have active deals that they work on, that they try to partner with people. So some people have the money and the experience, and so they'll help you in that aspect. But then some people have the deals, right? So it's just a way for people to network and connect. So I joined the Slack channel, and all I did was introduce myself and who I'm looking for. I said, hey, my name is Keshav. However, I think I was 23 at the time. I'm 23 years old, software engineer, don't have much experience in real estate at all. I'm just a realtor, but here's what I can do. I can work for free. I'm good with numbers, so I can help analyze these properties and check the numbers out and see if it makes sense financially. I can talk to investors for you, lawyers, contractors, property management, whatever. Anything to take work off your plate and just learn from you. And I said, I need someone who has decades of experience in the industry, not just someone who's been around for a couple of years. And I'm looking for someone who's willing to do this for the long term. I don't want someone who's just in it for a quick buck or two. I want to make this a full-time gig eventually and build a business, like a wealth management firm, out of it. And I need someone who has that experience and is willing to take the time to mentor someone. And so through that, I found my partner, Andy McMullen, and he took me under his wing, was like, hey, you sound like an interesting guy, hop on my calendar. That was like September, October of last year, and the rest is history. So I've been talking to him now, a couple times a week. We're working on a project. We can talk more about this later, a built to rent project in Louisiana, and we'll be doing more projects together, down the road. But that's how I got into my first deal. Keep networking. I would say keep networking, talk to people, find someone who you find your values align with and who's willing to take you under their wing, and just work for free, offered work for free. And when you get in, really bust your ass and over deliver.
100%. Yeah. And you added value, right? Like you're willing to come in and put in the work. Whereas somebody else, for the long term, you're not just looking for something short. You want to be here, you want to be in the space, right? So that's huge. Yeah. I feel like anybody who's, in that position as Andy, he's going to see that and be like, hey, this guy is serious about this, right? He's not just in it for making a quick million and leaving, right? So it's real. So, and I want to thank you, for actually inviting me to the GOB network. Actually, you're the one who introduced me to that. So, neither of us get paid for this. So it's just a good place to be and cool people who really want to give and serve, and just provide resources. So. Yeah, I think so with commercial real estate, like you said, it's usually a big barrier of entry, right? Either all these people with high net worths, or you can raise all this capital, or you have this smoking hot deal, which is not the easiest thing to do just starting out, right? So it's like you don't know what you don't know in the beginning, right? So that it's allowed me to kind of open my eyes to different resources, different people who are in the space who are just willing to give. And it's not like a huge cost of entry. It's not a $20,000-$30,000 mentorship or anything, right? It's so that's another thing, right? Like capital is also a constraint for a lot of people. So at least starting out. So that's another thing that I think it's a great resource that they provided, and really unique in the space. So yeah, yeah. But so when you first started, right? Like a few years ago, did you think you'd be in this place of taking down these deals, doing these build to rent projects, things like that? Do you think it was going to be possible so soon?
I did. I've never been one to, oh, so soon. I think I was maybe a couple of months ahead of schedule of where I thought I would be as far as getting to my first deal, but I knew eventually I'd make it. I've never thought of myself as being limited to anything. And I figured if someone else can do it, like, and they're a mortal human being, then I have it in me too. I might not be good at sales. I might not be good at marketing. And some people might be better at it than others innately, right? I might be good at crunching numbers and being a robot, but that doesn't mean that it's like a skill that I can't learn. There are books out there, there are courses. I can talk to people who are better at it than I am, and eventually I'll make it there if I put in the time and I put in the work and I, work intelligently.
Right. You just keep learning, right? Yeah. It's all possible. Just yeah. And I mean, so if you could like go back, right, and tell yourself something from when you first started or started investing, right? Like based on what you know now, what would you kind of tell yourself?
I would tell myself, let's see, 2 or 3 things. One is to start building your brand earlier and telling people what you do, even if you don't have anything in the works. If your plan is one day to have something in the works, it's going to take some time for people to wrap their mind around what you're doing, right? Especially if it's something that a lot of people haven't heard about and it sounds Ponzi scheme-ish or too good to be true. It takes time for people to warm up to the idea. When I first told my family and friends what I was doing, they're like, "You're crazy. Like, this doesn't work. You're going to lose money. This sounds suspect." So warm people up, tell them what you're doing. Like, I like what you're doing right now. You're posting your breakfast. We were talking about this the other day. You're posting your breakfast up on Facebook. You're being consistent with it every day. It's eggs and avocado toast and bread. And I wake up and I'm already hungry because I'm looking at your story. And you're talking about what you're doing. You're talking about the people you're talking to, the deals you're looking at, what a day in the life of Samir looks like. And you've already started gaining, attention and interest, like you had mentioned in our previous talk about it. And that's one thing I'd recommend. Just start getting your name out there, building a brand about what you do. Just give people visibility into what you're doing, where you're trying to go. And you'll attract, if you have the right vision and values in mind, you'll attract people along the way. Second is to be firmly rooted in what you're doing and actually believe in it. In the beginning, no one's going to believe in you. Your family's not, depending, right, on who you're talking to. But sometimes your family won't believe in you. They'll be like, "Oh, why don't you just stick to your day job and, just collect a 401k, call it a day, grow old, do what we did." Your friends won't believe in you. They're like, "This sounds weird. I'm gonna just put my money in the stock market." May or may not be speaking from personal experience here. So you just have to really believe in yourself and surround yourself with other people who are doing what you're doing. That'll keep you going forward. It'll keep you motivated up until that point where you do start building traction and that community of people who, that want to go with you wherever you're going. And lastly, I would say is you're not going to enjoy every part of the journey. I thought that I would enjoy every part of the journey, but there are some parts that I'm really not a fan of, to be completely honest. Like figuring out how to get good at copywriting, figuring out how to get good at marketing or how to pitch to people, whatever it is. Like a lot of it's like, I just wish someone else would do this for me, or I wish I was better at it. But you just have to realize that there are days or aspects of your job that you're not going to like. And so I've come to terms with that and just realized that if my end goal is to help people create a better life for themselves, sometimes people aren't going to know what they don't know. And you just have to get good at explaining that to them, or again, marketing to them. So
yeah, amazing. Yeah, no, that was amazing. That's awesome takeaways there. And what you said there was just gold, right? Like that's it right there. And I think a big thing I want to highlight there is just surrounding yourself with those people, right? Those people who are going to enable you to do it or answer those questions, right? Because the people who are going to doubt you and say you can't do it, they're not going to help you get there anyway, right? So find the people who are going to help you get there, right? And the people who are maybe going through the same struggles, so you can, bounce ideas off of. Maybe somebody who has different strengths than you, and maybe you can add value and seek help in some ways, right? So yeah,
these like coaching programs or communities like the GOB network come into play, right? You're not paying the price tag for I would say you're paying the price tag mostly to be in that network of people. Not even, I would say the education is like secondary and very important, but it's just surrounding yourself with the right people. Because at the end of the day, if there's some quote where it's like, if you tell yourself you can do something or you tell yourself you can't do something, you're probably right either way. Like the buck really starts and stops with what goes on up here.
Right. It's aligning that mindset first. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Keshav, now like, accomplishing these things, what's kind of next for you in 2022 and beyond?
Yeah. My long-term goal is just to have full-time, like open up a wealth, or actually it's already open. So my firm's name is called Clive Capital. Clive in Latin means to better or to ascend. It also means like cave dweller, I think, in English, but we'll just ignore that meaning for now. My goal with that is to help people to create a better life for themselves, right? Hence the name of the firm. I didn't want to just name it Caloric Capital, make it about myself. So the goal of it is really to help other people, everyday people like you and me, engineers, consultants, doctors, whoever, get their start in real estate passively and build that passive income for themselves. So that come one day, if they don't want to work whatever the job they're at, they can have enough income coming in to where they do whatever they find most fulfilling in life, whether it's spending time with family, picking up new hobbies, maybe it's starting a business, going back to school, whatever it is, right? They start to live a life more on their own terms and full of options rather than having to be held to some 9-to-5 commitment just to put bread on the table. So that's the long-term goal, just wealth management for people to help build their wealth for them and do good things with it. In the short term, I'm working on tackling more projects and finding more investors. That's currently, for me at least, I find that finding the number of investors that I have is the bottleneck to, participate in a lot of these projects. And to build out my brand, just tell more people what I'm doing, try to educate more people about commercial real estate investing and open up their eyes to the fact that, Wall Street stock markets aren't the only way or even the best way to get yourself to the financially free life that you want to achieve.
100%. I love that. So, for anybody that wants to kind of reach out, whether, they want to invest or whether they want to learn more about, commercial apartment building investing, or they just want to get to know you, right? What's the best way for them to kind of reach out to you and connect?
I would say connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't know what's the best way to like throw a link in here.
I'll put in the notes, all your like social media channels.
LinkedIn's probably best. My email as well, keshav@clivecap.com, or just reach out over the website. The website's still under construction, but it's at a good place. So leave your feedback there or reach out over there as well, clivecap.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll link all that below so anybody can reach out. Well, Keshav, before we kind of depart, do you have any kind of final words you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is that I found to be helpful and kind of why I've been able to do what I've been able to do. Not even that it's that much, but it's just to start thinking differently and for yourself. So we're told to get a job, go to school, get a job. This is our Kiyosaki line, but go to school, get a job, buy a house, pay your taxes, invest in the stock market, right? And if these things aren't working for other people, right, there's crazy, scary stats out there where it's like 70% of people can't handle a $500 emergency, something like that. If this is what society's telling us to do and 80% of people are doing it and they're not doing it and it's not working for them, then something's clearly not working. So it's a matter of starting to educate yourself, putting yourself out there. Like I said, talk to people that you've never talked to before. Don't be scared and just keep an open mind and just start reading, educating yourself on what's really possible.
100%. Yeah, you're right. And that's a crazy statistic, which is hard to believe. So yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on today, Keshav. It was really a pleasure. And I know so many people are going to get value from this. So appreciate you, man.
Anytime, Samir. I appreciate what you've put together here. I think it's good. The theme of your channel seems to be for people who are kind of just starting out, but you don't have like hundreds of units under management or whatever. And I think, honestly, I haven't seen a channel like this before. So I want to thank you for having me on here. This is my first podcast ever. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. But also just kind of shining the light and guiding other people who are in our situations to see, oh, like if this is what we're doing, then I can do this too. And, forging that path forward for others.
Definitely. It means a lot. Thank you. And so let's do it together.
Yeah,
Cheers,
exactly.
brother.
I'm excited to look forward. I'm excited to look forward. I'm excited to working together with you, man.
Yeah, dude. Likewise. Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, thank you and take care, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good day.
Too.